So I'm gonna say good morning to everyone. I have my usual cast of characters. We have Miss Samantha Foster. We have her good morning. Miss Danielle Colvin, good morning. And Mr. Naheem Garcias.
Good
And
morning.
good morning to you. And this is another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. We're going to do, excuse me, we're going to do this a little different. Not going to give a long introduction. I'll drop that in about RMK Productions as we go along. But we normally get together every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We were brought together with a group of friends. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two, and sometimes a hell of a lot of people in here. And we talk about motivational quotes and how they landed on us based on our perception, interpretation. We create conversations in this space, and we're going to do that today. But today's quote, and I'm not for sure if it's a quote or not for sure if it's just a noun. You know, you guys are a lot smarter than me, and I'll find out the interpretation and perception when I drop this word on you. But because of this time of the year, it's the holidays. A lot of people are feeling a certain kind of way. And so, based on this one quote, which is universal, it's going to land on us either how we were taught or how it was caught. So, today's quote, if I can use this as a quote, is love. I'm going to let that sink in for a little bit, especially for our listeners. So, the reason why I brought this quote here, and normally one of us normally brings something in, is because a lot of people are going through hard times during the holidays. I know years ago I suffered because my grandfather passed away on the 23rd of December. My father passed away 3 years afterwards on Christmas Eve. And I still have a younger brother that suffers and struggles with the loss of our father. Wonderful man, loved him to death. And I know we all share like stories of having either lost someone in the physical world or lost someone in the emotional world. So when I talk about love, I talk about love being a set of emotions, behaviors characterized by your intimacies or passion based on commitment. And then I ask myself, is love about closeness, protectiveness, attraction, affection, or trust? And thinking about it, depending on how you look at it and how it's caught and how it's taught, love can vary in its intensities. And it also can change over time because we do fall out of love. Love with our dreams, love with people in our life, love with our careers, and even love with life. Love can be associated with many positive emotions, including happiness and excitement. Love can be part of satisfaction. Love can be utopian. Depends on who that word lands on and how you respond to this. However, love can also result in negative behaviors such as jealousy, stress, and envy. So I don't have the right answer. I don't have a beautiful tagline to attach with love. All I know is that, you know, I love the way it makes me feel. I love the way it falls into some of the music that I listen to. I love the way it um, gets me excited when, you know, you guys show up because on each level, I can say, with a great deal of commitment that I love each one of you that are on here. Naheem, my brother, Danielle, my sister, Samantha, my sister, and like brothers and sisters, it depends on what happens during the day as how we define that love. So I'm going to leave it out there. And again, Southern boy, growing up, I'm going to pass it out to one of the ladies. I'm not going to call one out. I'm just going to go ahead and say, unmute yourself and go ahead and talk so Danielle doesn't chase me down. So let's talk about love.
Go ahead, Danielle. You take the floor.
But Samantha, you already unmuted, so that, and I saw you pretending to hit the mute button. I saw you. So I'm gonna
And,
mute myself and I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
and just and just remember, this is a podcast, so we're live, so we don't have to debate over it. Let's just go ahead and do this. So
I'll give a
Samantha,
little, we're just giving it a little bit of spice, Kevin. A little bit of spice.
and I just want to share with you guys. I spoke with Samantha a little bit. She is attending a Tony Robbins workshop, and she's been there for 14, 15 hours a day working on this. So you know, there's going to be a lot of excitement coming out of this conversation. It could be love, it could be very intense, and so hopefully, it's all positive. So Samantha, on this great morning, and we're all happy to be alive. Let's talk about love.
Mm, wonderful. Yeah, I had such a great time at the Tony Robbins seminars. And, anybody who's been through his workshops knows they're really, really intensive. And I did have, quite a few breakthroughs. When Relationship Day came up, which I didn't even know there was a relationship day. I was there for business purposes for the Lifehouse Project. I had this visceral reaction. I wasn't interested in it. So it was just really difficult going into that day. But as he wore me down and as I got tired, my subconscious started really coming out. What was going on started coming out. What was amazing is that everybody has love. The love is there. It's what's stopping us from showing up with it. What's stopping us from relating to other people or being in a relationship. And it's really about what we're bringing to the table, each individual. It's not about what the other person's giving to us, what the other partner is giving to us. It's what we are putting into the relationship. And one of the biggest things that my biggest breakthrough is that I was harboring some resentment and hatred for some incidences that happened when I was a child. And I carried those type of feelings and emotions into my past relationships. So if you can imagine, how do you fully love and embrace your partner if you're harboring those type of feelings? Because that's what's going to come out. Whether you're conscious about it or not, that's what's going to come out. Also, when we think about love, we think about passion. And I know so many relationships go through this phase where they lose their passion in life. And it doesn't have to be that way. One of the things that I learned in the seminar is that you can always keep that passion no matter how many years you've been married. What happens is that there's a polarity happens in the beginning where the woman brings out that feminine core, where the man brings out that masculine core. But sometimes during that relationship, during the years of being married, or just being with your partner, you lose that because you lose that polarity where maybe she starts playing more of a masculine part, like criticizing. That there's nothing more damaging to a man than hear his woman criticize or try to give her opinion, right? He plays that masculine role where he's the hero, and men love that masculine person, loves to be in that role. Right. And the feminine loves being in that role of receiving. It makes her feel safe. It makes her feel secure. And it helps keep that polarity. Not that a woman can't go out and run an enterprise or run a business where she plays a masculine role during that period. But in the relationship itself, there's got to be a polarity. And that's what gives that passion, where you find yourselves, in intimate situations, if you will. I'll keep it clean. But that's what really gives that passion for love. What we're doing with other people when we're showing love is we're doing acts of kindness. And when we're doing an act of kindness for others, they feel loved. There's no other generous act than an act of kindness to really have somebody else really feel loved. And let's remember that kindness means that we're doing something that's selfless for somebody else. We're not expecting anything else in return. We're just doing it. So I think love has got so many different layers, but when it comes to personal relationships, most certainly it's really all about that polarity, but we want to make sure that we look back into our subconscious or anything that's preventing us from showing up in the relationship, all of our best qualities. It's never about the other person. It's about what we're doing. So thank you. That's what I had to share.
Yeah, you know something, Sam? It is always nice to hear your share. There's so much excitement about this. And as Michael Strahan went up his 13 minutes of his plane flight to, leave Earth and only to be returned, which says one good thing about um, people of color. You can send them off the planet, they come back. But anyway, I just want to say thank you for that share, and thank you for attending and bringing that energy from Tony Robbins back to this space. And remember this, Sam. We talked about this quote a couple episodes ago. Is when bad things happen, you have three choices. You can either let it define you, you can either let it destroy you, or as you have done, you can let it strengthen you. And so, with that said, there's a lot of love in this conversation to be shared, and I'm going to turn it over to my brother, Naheem Garcias.
Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. Happy belated birthday again, Kevin. I was taught young a long time ago that love is a great degree of understanding. It's drawn from what you know and how you feel by your knowledge and your wisdom. Love is an act of selfishness, but there is a touch of selfishness in that act too, because I love you because it makes me feel good. Samantha creating a background for me and sending it to me, that was without me asking, was a great deal of love. Kevin constantly pushing me and forcing me to improve myself is a constantly act of love. Danielle, you and I ain't had a chance to dance yet, but we will. But the fact that you constantly, every now and then, or the time we did meet, you reached out and just sent me some positive vibes to let me know that I too am important is an act of love. So just like Kevin said earlier, with love, you can fall out of love. You can do all these things with love, but love is something strong and comes deep. And it's something that makes you who you are. Some people don't love themselves or don't love what they have or don't love what they need because they think everything they got or want is because they created it. And love is natural. You don't have any control of love. You don't control love. Like the first time you look into your bride or your partner's eyes and you realize that there's something in that person that just creates a joy and a feeling and a want to take care of them and a want to be with them. So yeah, love is a great degree of understanding. And I love this podcast, and I wake up every morning to be a part of it, which is something consistent, and consistency is love, because that means you want to progress and be good at what you do. So with that said, I love you.
And believe it or not, I love you too, brother. And I think that comes as a universal quote from everyone in this room. And it takes a very strong man. The way that I grew up, you couldn't say that to another man because perception, interpretation from one man to another back in the day wasn't the same. And I don't think there's ever been a conversation that any of us have had, at least I've had with each one of you guys. We have not ended that conversation without saying how much we love each other and appreciate each other. And you guys have no idea how much love you have given to me. So again, I'm going to thank you for that share. And I'm hoping that the people that are listening to this is dissecting their own emotions as we share today. And so, there's only four of us here, and I'm one of four. And Danielle, published author, best-selling author, entrepreneur, mini entrepreneur. There's many accolades I can attach to this. And I will tell you, universally, you are loved by more people than you ever know, because you are an educator. You're teaching our young minds and preparing. So without saying, it may not be said every day, but you are loved on so many different levels. So go ahead, Miss Danielle.
Thank you so much. Wow, the word love. People forget sometimes that when you put the word unconditional in front of love, it changes everything. Unconditional means forever, absolute. It'll never, we may fall, our love may vary. I may have a little more love for you today, a little less tomorrow, depending on the situation, depending on how I'm feeling, but it's unconditional. And with you mentioning me being an educator, that brings back a memory of just this past week. I scolded one of my students for not keeping her mask on. And by the end of the period, I said to her, "Have a great day, sweetheart. Love you a bunch." She said, "Miss Corbin, how could you tell me that you love me after you scolded me 5 minutes ago?" I said, "Because I love you enough to tell you something to protect you. So it's going to come off harsh, and that love comes off tough. But I also need to seal that moment and seal the day with you knowing that I love you unconditionally, regardless if I'm upset with you or not." She said, "That's just like something a mom would do."
Yeah.
And I chuckled to myself because I only have one biological daughter, but so many unbiological children that I can't even think about the love that I feel when I walk into the school building. And it varies. There's some days those students don't want to talk to me. They look around, but then the next day it comes back full circle and they're back and they're giving me a hug, or I'm giving them a hug or a smile or a wave. We need to learn from the time that we're young that love is unconditional. It varies, but just because someone is upset with you doesn't mean that their love for you ends. And that's where that unconditional part comes in. And the simple fact that we could exchange the word here means that we love each other unconditionally, although we don't know each other intricately. And that's profound. Love is priceless. When it gives you those goosebumps and it makes you want to do a happy dance, or it just, it leaves you speechless when you see someone, and it could be a family member. We need to know that love comes in, it's packaged so differently. And we need to appreciate the smallest moments and the biggest moments.
Wow. It amazes me when I listen to great minds speak from the heart. You know, Sam, you touch me in a certain kind of way. Danielle, you've moved me in a certain type of way. Brother, Naheem Garcia, you know, along with my brother Raymond Porch, you guys protect me in a certain type of way. There has not been an incident or a conversation I've had, or even on this podcast, that we have not ended with a conversation that did not say love, but the truth of what love has constantly revealed itself and expressed. I say this to my youngest son, that every single day that I look at him as if it was the first time I've ever met him. And the reason why I say that is because I was the first person that touched him in this world, because I delivered my youngest son, Theo, and he hates it to this day. But I know in the back of his mind, you know, he knows how much I love him. Each one of my children, they know how much I love them. And sometimes I love at such a high level, I forget, and we as people forget, that we have to trust where love really comes from. And that's being authentic with yourself. And I think it's easier to love someone else when you're madly in love with yourself and you're authentic with yourself. So I'm going to say I love all of you guys. You guys have no idea this time of year how it's important to be surrounded by so many wonderful, talented people that inspire. How many people like yourself that come in and share stories and experiences and create perspectives that create a framework not only for those who listen to us, but it allows us to learn and to model. You know, simplicity is the best way of saying anything. Keep it simple, stupid, as some people say. And I say what our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. And I think we should help people love each other every day, keeping it simple. So with that said, you know, if anyone would like to say anything before we in this episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and friends. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we share perspectives and interpretations based on a quote, either created by us or how it landed on us, and we share quotes that inspire us. So, Sam, would you like on this holiday, it's not the holiday eve, but the holiday season, to leave anything with our listeners?
Yeah, I would love to do that. You know, if anybody ever starts feeling unloved or wants to feel more intense feeling of love, go serve. Go serve at a soup kitchen. Go serve at a homeless shelter. Go serve. It is proven that when we are serving somebody else, that a feeling of the love that we're looking for comes over us. And you'll get connected with not just loving what you're doing and who you're serving, but also loving yourself. Because we're looking for that feeling of love, not just the word, but that feeling. And serving brings us that feeling. That's why Christmas, this holiday season, is so important. Why everybody's feeling so much love. Why do you think that is above all the other seasons in the year? Why is it the Christmas season that everybody's feeling so much love? Because we're serving, because we're giving, because we're acting selflessly. That's why we're feeling so much love. That's what we need to be doing each and every day, all year round, not just for the Christmas season. Christmas needs to be all year round. And I also want to leave one other thing for people who've got partners that are in relationships. When you're in a relationship with somebody, there is no boundaries. Boundaries serve as barriers. And once you start putting up barriers with your partner, now you start separating yourself. It's not unconditional love. Don't put up boundaries. You're supposed to merge with that other person 100%, and then with you. So I encourage everybody to look at the relationship for this season. See if you've got those barriers put up, those boundaries. Take them down. There's where your unconditional love is at. Thank you.
Naheem.
I think Danielle said it all, man. How do you top that one? Yeah, love is very, very serious, and loving yourself is probably the most difficult thing in the world, because you think you love yourself, but sometimes it's in the surface. But real deep love with yourself and who you are and respecting you allows you to be able to enter any level, any circle, any place, and feel and be yourself. It's hard to love yourself because people think it's easy, but it's not, because there's so many things in the world that are constantly telling you what not to love about yourself. So when you can see yourself truly for who you are and what you are, and you find, like I used to want to, I wish I could have been, no, I'm glad I am who I am. I'm glad I have all my faults, all my mistakes. I'm glad that I stumble over myself. I'm glad to be who I am, because I wouldn't be the man that I am, and I wouldn't love the way that I love. And that's what I need to say. And that's all I have to say. Peace.
Danielle.
Wow. Whenever I finished a conversation with my mom, I would say, I love you. And she would say, I love you more. So now I say that to everyone else. However, some days I want all of us to remember to put a comma in front of that you. I love you more, meaning you need to love yourselves more. And we forget when we're doing service, and I forget when I'm in school, I'll stay too late. And then I get home, I'm exhausted, and then I can't be 110% of myself in the morning for the students. So I have to take a step back and push that pause button that says, love you more. And I just want to leave you with all of that. Thank you.
I'm going to thank each and every last one of you. And I hope to our listeners that you've enjoyed Motivational Sundays with Kevin and my really good friends, and I'm going to say family. Danielle, Samantha, Naheem, my brother Raymond, you know, my sister Marjorie. I will say this, my grandfather used to always say, when you get to a position that you can help someone else, it is your duty to do so. So Sam touched on it. Service is key. Danielle, you talked about, you know, putting an exclamation point on loving you and making sure that, you know, you're protecting your heart first before you give it out to others. And the fact that, Brother Naheem, you spoke on so many different poetic levels about love and being authentic and being true to oneself. What I share with everyone and what I'd like to leave is define 1,000 words to be kind to someone. That's my hashtag. You've heard me say that before. Reach one, teach one, and we'll fade to black.